Hey there, everyone. This is Jeremy, the Music Andy, and I'm here today to talk to you about a new album called The Tipping Point from Tears for Fears. Forming all the way back in 1981, coming from the UK, this is the 7th studio album from the band. I'm familiar with the first album from them, The Hurting, and their second album, Songs from the Big Chair. It's art pop, it's sophista pop, it's new wave, it's whatever you really want to call it. It is just synth. I would say synth pop mostly. I think that's the easiest way to describe it. There's some very good songs on both of these albums. They're very melancholy on the lyrics, very exaggerated, very drawn out, almost gothic, but it's done in a new wave approach. So that's the conflicting part of it. This band is great at layering instruments, bringing in a wide array of sounds and tones. Putting together very catchy hooks and very progressive pop songs. This album is coming 39 years after the debut album and 18 years after the last album that they released all the way back in 2004. Normally that's kind of a red flag for me. I think a band's kind of on its last legs. 18 years after the fact of their last album, that just feels like a recipe for disaster. But the album really isn't a recipe for disaster. No Small Thing kind of scared me on my first listen. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but by the end of the song, I saw that this band still had some gas left in the tank. Absolutely. Going through this nice soft opening, we kind of move into this little bit of a neo-psych feel. There's some diving guitars, there's a really bubbly bass on it. And then it kind of moves into a darker feel, kind of what Tears for Fears is known for. The synth is kind of dictating the intensity of this, kind of absorbing and swallowing all the energy from the instruments around it until it eventually all just cuts off from the track. From this song, I can feel like this isn't a band that's on its last legs. It's a band that's kind of adapting to a new style of music while still ultimately giving a lot of it back to their old fans as well. The Tipping Point kind of follows the similar pattern of this one, but it has a lot more of a modern rhythm section on it. The electronic drums are played in a fashion that does sound like it would come from a newer pop song, but the vocals kind of dragged this song down for me a little bit. They almost felt like they were vocals that were kind of going for a 90s or early 2000s pop song. It just wasn't connecting that well for me. The glitched out keys that are at the end of this album is definitely a saving point. I wish they would have played it a little bit more. I wish they would have developed it into a sound instead of just kind of looping back into the little hook that they had going. Long, Long Time is a nice song, but it's a song that feels like it's already been written by so many people, especially on the vocals, the lyrics. The bass on this, though, is a definite saving point. It's very round, it's very warm, it has a lot of good feeling to it, and the bass on this entire album, honestly, is a standpoint. Break the Man has a jagged, attacking bass. Please Be Happy has this creeping, crawling bass that almost kind of moves like a Portishead song, and then when there's explosions of sound and really triumphant moments, it almost has a walking bass that's similar to the Beatles. Going back to the vocals, though, on this album, a lot of the songs are kind of misses for me just on the fact of the vocals because they are going for this more modern approach when I think that they should just modernize the instruments and then kind of keep the vocals the same because they still do it very well. Like I said before, this band used to really use theatrics. It used to really emphasize on dragging out words and sentences, having a lot of sorrow and sadness kind of crawling out of these lyrics and these vocal performances. This album doesn't feel like that. It feels like a collection of songs that really have their own identity and theme going on. Please Be Happy is the classic Tears for Fears. It's very melancholy, it's very slow moving. It can kind of get in the intensity towards the end of the track. Break the Man has this indie pop feeling to it. It almost feels like a Passion Pit song. It's super sugary and catchy. And then My Demons feels like a rebellious old school rock song. I just did not care for it at all, to be honest with you. I wish the band would have came together in a more consistent way. After 18 years of no music, I feel like there could have been a theme to go on or some kind of message that you wanted to put out that would have been consistent throughout the whole album, but that really wasn't it. For the most part, it feels like the band's just trying to pump out a hit. And to be honest, I will give them credit where credit is due. No Small Things, the self-title, Please Be Happy, End of the Night were all well received from me, be honest. In summary, I think that this is a pretty solid album. It's pretty impressive that after all these years, after that giant break, these two can still come together and make some good music. I think this album is them stepping out of their comfort zone and just really just throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks, and it may not have stuck a lot to me, but that's just my opinion. I'm feeling like a 6.1 Social Security checks out of 10 on this one. What did you think of this album? What albums would you like me to review in the future? Please leave a comment below and let me know, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.